Good morning! Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Sierra. Thank you so much for all of your support in 2022. For everybody that has watched, subscribed, commented, and liked my videos. You all mean so much to me, and I am super appreciative for every single person that has showed me support. Today, we are doing a 2022 year recap. Oh my gosh. 2022 was an insane year for me, and it literally feels like 2022 was 10 years long. I'm not even kidding. I was like, I cannot believe that all of this happened in 1 year. It's so crazy. So I'm enjoying a nice sparkling water with some blueberries in it. One of my goals for 2023 is no soda and no alcohol. So sparkling water is my fix for something bubbly without being soda. So in January of 2022, my husband and I found out that we had the opportunity to move from America to Romania, out of all places. Super insane. His work was giving us the chance to move with their company to come out to Romania. So we definitely wanted to take that opportunity. We started the process for my husband's visa paperwork, and in January we thought that this was going to be the month that we were moving to Romania. So I told my work that we were moving in January, and turns out that we completely did not end up moving in January. After that, our lease for our apartment got canceled because we were renewing it month by month, because at this point we had literally no idea when we were moving, and the office actually rented out our apartment to somebody else because we hadn't submitted our next month's renewal at this point. So we lost our house and had to move in with family at this point. I did not want this to happen again to us. So thankfully my brother was super generous. Him and his fiance let us move into their house, where we moved in. Also, my parents were living at the time because they were in a transition to their new home. So we moved in with 2 adult couples and 4 dogs. So we went from me and my husband in our own apartment, our own space, to living in a spare bedroom with 4 other people and 4 dogs. And honestly, it was the best time. I got a dog like 6 years ago, right when I graduated No, I didn't graduate high school 6 years ago. What am I talking about? So I got a dog about 6 years ago. Her name is Mia. She is so precious. She ended up transitioning into my parents' dog because my husband and I remodeled our house completely, and it's just not a safe place for a dog. They ended up falling in love with her and teaching her some naughty habits. Anyways, she ended up becoming their dog. It was so awesome to be able to move in with my brother as well, because not only were we living with family members, but I got to live with my precious, beautiful Mia. And honestly, it was such a joy living with her. It was good to be with her and spend time with her. And family. To spend time with family too. That was nice. My brother and his fiance were also remodeling their house and getting ready to move. So we felt like we were in the way at this point. The room that we were staying in wasn't completely finished, so they were getting ready to list, and we thought it would be better if we just moved in with Dakota's dad so that they could finish their house in peace and we were not in the way. So we moved in with Dakota's dad, and we got a full basement to ourselves. We got 2 rooms and a full bathroom, which was nice. So in March, I had a super fun trip to Branson with my parents, kind of like a touristy city in the Midwest. I don't even know honestly how to describe it, but I'll put pictures here of kind of what we did. Me and my mom and dad went to Branson for the weekend, while Dakota spent a week in Florida with his mom and his youngest brother. Me and my dad are both obsessed with aquariums, so it was it was just funny to like watch us in there, and like watching my dad and how much he enjoyed it. Like, I totally see where I get it from now. But also we got to do this really cool like safari thing, where basically they take you in a 4x4 and it's completely open on the sides, and you just have like a bucket of food and you get to feed all these different animals, and you like drive through this like safari area. So a couple of cool things we got to do was we got to hold a spider monkey, which was so incredible. We got to hand feed apples to a sloth, and whenever we were driving around on this 4x4, there were all of these like emus and buffalo and stuff that came up and literally stuck their heads in and would eat the food from your hands. So it was so crazy. So in June, we officially found out that we got confirmation to finally move to Romania, which was so surreal. It was crazy just because Dakota and I both grew up in the Midwest. So we grew up in Kansas City our whole entire lives. We've gone on a few vacations outside of America, but really we had never experienced Europe. So the farthest we have moved is less than 10 miles in our whole entire lives. So to move this far away is literally insane, but such a cool and amazing experience that we could not pass up. So at this point in June, we found out that we were officially able to move. The transition between all of these months was incredibly hard, but also just trying to soak in every single moment that we had left in Kansas City. I think one of the hardest things for me was transitioning in my work because I was the manager. We had hired another gal in to kind of take my place. Because we didn't know officially when we were moving at that time, it was so just like weird because I was trying to put responsibility on other people and kind of teach them my roles, but then also like I still had to be the manager. It was a very, very tricky time, but I feel like we handled it the best that we could with what we had. Once we found out that we were able to move, I quit my job, which was so weird because I started working when I was 16. I feel like in America mostly, your identity starts becoming your job in a way. I'll talk more about this a little bit later, but I officially quit my job of 3 years, which was just a very weird feeling, but also super freeing to like not have a responsibility of work like since you've been working for 10 years. So that was very weird. We had a really fun going away party with all of our family, and we had water balloons and cupcakes and ice cream, and that was a really sweet moment for my family just to come together and spend this last time before we officially move. Once Dakota and I finally moved to Europe, we had 1 month to completely explore and get to know the city and the culture and the new customs and the new language, which was, there were so many learning lessons for us during this time. I think the biggest hurdle was definitely the language barrier because not everybody speaks English in Romania, and it was a little bit tricky just navigating a completely new place, a new culture. We'd never been to Europe before. So many interesting stories. Our first official destination that we traveled to once we got to Europe was Rome, and honestly, this was a mind-blowing trip. You have to imagine the 3 only vacations that we've taken in our lives were Punta Cana, Jamaica, which were both resort trips. Like we stayed on the resort. We didn't venture out and explore and see the city and get to know the town. We stayed on the resort the whole week. And we went to Hawaii, which is still in the US. We did mostly like touristy stuff and went to malls and just walked around the city. We didn't really do like a lot of exploring, like I said. So Rome was a complete 360 opposite of everything that we'd ever seen and known before, and honestly I fell in love with Rome. It was so beautiful, all the amazing architecture and just really, really cool buildings. We got caught in the rain, which was I feel like a movie scene. Speaking of movies, we did actually get on the set of Gilmore Girls, accidentally. We were randomly walking down the street in Rome and we saw all these cameras and like the lights set up and stuff. And we were like, what is this? Honestly, there was like less than 30 people there. So it didn't look like a huge production. And so we're just walking down there. Nobody stopped us. Nobody told us to like, this is restricted. You can't come back here. So we just walked on the set, and then all of a sudden they're like, get ready, rolling. It started raining. As it was raining, we were walking back up the street, and we asked one of the nearby people, like, what is happening here? And they're like, oh, they're filming for season 2 of Gilmore Girls. And I was like, what the heck? We were literally just on a movie set. That is so insane. And then in September, for our 12-year anniversary, we went to Paris. Dakota surprised me with a trip to Paris, which honestly could still make me cry. How thoughtful he planned this whole thing behind my back. I had no idea about it. And that was just such a cool experience to be able to go to Paris. We saw the Eiffel Tower, visited all the museums. We went to Versailles and got to ride bikes, which was such a fun, amazing memories. Really, really special to experience. So we get back from Paris, and in October, we find out that we have to leave Romania. So I have a whole video on it. I'll link it here for you about how we found out we didn't have enough time to submit all of my visa paperwork. So you only get a 3-month tourist period in a European country before you have to legally leave. And our time had come to an end. We literally found out in one day that it was our 90th day in Romania and that we had to leave, else we would be overstaying and all of my visa paperwork would be denied. So we panic bought flights to Switzerland and had to spend the next 3 months, the remaining portion of 2022, outside of Romania. We literally had no idea what this was gonna look like for us. It's so crazy. So we went to Switzerland for a week. It is super beautiful and amazing there, but really expensive. So our next destination was Malaga, Spain. We booked a month Airbnb there to be on the beach, and it's also warm weather. Praise God, that was a huge blessing. We got to spend time on the beach near the ocean, which was really, really cool. During this time, we decided that we wanted to make the most of the next couple of months that we had to be outside of Romania, and we decided to go on a complete tour of Europe. So we spent the next 14 weeks, every single week we were in a new country. And if you didn't see this series, please go back and watch it. I am still in the process of editing these videos. Insane. Literally insane. We got to see so many cool and amazing, beautiful countries, so many surprising places that I didn't even think that I would like, but that I ended up loving. And it was just crazy, literally crazy. I cannot believe that we had to spend 3 months spending every single penny that we had saved traveling Europe and experiencing all these different countries and cultures and foods and excursions. Oh my gosh, my favorite was Iceland. That was an incredible, life-changing country. Scotland was also one of my top faves. We rang in the new year in Germany. I still cannot believe that happened to us. In 2022, I also started my YouTube channel to document this journey and everything that is happening to us along the way. I never would have been able to predict that everything that has happened to us in 2022 would have happened. Honestly, it's been a complete movie. I feel like in 2022, my biggest learning lesson was to let go and let God. Whenever we found out that we were moving here, all of the Russia and Ukraine stuff was going on. So that was a huge stressor for a lot of our family members, saying, are you sure you guys want to move? Do you want to go? during this time. But honestly, I'm so glad that we didn't let that fear hold us back, because this has been a life-changing experience for us. Also, just navigating, not knowing when we were gonna move, having to move from our apartment to different family members' houses, completely just surrendering to God's plan and His timing was such a hard thing to do, but also an incredible thing to do, because everything that we've got to see and travel and experience, it definitely has abundantly blessed us way more than we could have ever planned ourselves. I feel like this year I've really learned that I am way stronger, more resilient, and capable than I ever thought I was. Especially, like, I keep coming back to this, but just everything that has happened to us. Some of my friends that I've reached out to and talked to about the things we've gone through, they're like, there's no way I could go through that. How are you guys coping? Like, how are you dealing with that? And honestly, I feel like I have taken every single season and every single new thing and just made the most of it, and really tried to appreciate and be thankful for the things that happen and the things that we have in those moments. I have learned to be more open to adventure and go with the flow. I'm just really, really proud of myself and like how far I've come in the last 10 years and how much I've grown is absolutely crazy. Like, I don't even recognize the person that I am compared to the person that I was 10 years ago. It's insane, absolutely insane. To go along with that, challenges that I feel like I faced and overcome in 2022 is definitely working through and trying to overcome anxiety and fear, especially moving here to Romania. I think that at first, the language barrier caused so much anxiety for me, because I can't read anything, and then sometimes speaking to people in public, if they don't know English or they know very little English, they'll like ignore you, or you just don't always have like pleasant interactions with people. It can be a little bit more tricky not being able to speak the same language. So I got to a point where I didn't really want to get out of the house. Even grocery shopping, I had so much anxiety to grocery shop because I felt like I was in people's ways. I didn't know where anything was in the store. I couldn't read anything, so I'm like standing there with Google Translate trying to translate all the ingredients. And so I feel like I have been able to overcome that. I think another thing is overcoming like the fear of the unknown, which I feel like I've really done well at embracing the things that have come to us with open arms and just accepting and trying to make the most and be positive about the crazy, crazy stuff that has happened to us this year. Another challenge that I've had to face this year is my anxiety and fear with my IBS. I haven't really opened up about this or talked about this because honestly, it's embarrassing. So I have been able to identify that I struggle with anxiety IBS. Whenever I get anxious or super anxious or stressed, it causes tummy issues. One of my major triggers is traveling. I have had a lot of traumatic events around my IBS that have caused very, very uncomfortable and embarrassing situations for me in public. So traveling was definitely a trigger for me, and with us finding out that we had to leave Romania and travel for 3 months straight, this was an opportunity for me to try to overcome these things and not just rely on medicine. I completely ignored my health. I just didn't take care of myself, and I would just medicate my symptoms instead of really focusing on diet and anxiety management to be healthy so that I don't have these symptoms. Traveling and constantly being in a new country every single week definitely helped me with this, and I feel now coming back, I am in such a better place mentally and with my health. and the foods that I eat, and just really trying to nourish my body and take care of myself so that I don't get those yucky tummy symptoms. I have so many crazy embarrassing stories that I could tell around this. Another challenge that I have definitely faced this year and had to overcome is going from working to not working. Because I didn't come here on a work visa, whenever you move to a new country, you have to have a sponsor, and I don't have one here because my job was American based. And so I could go through the process of getting a work visa if I wanted to, but because we're just gonna be here for like a year, we didn't think that it was really necessary to go through that process because it can take a long time. Like I said before, I basically have been working for 10 years, and in America, your job becomes a part of who you are. Most of the time when you meet a new person in the US, one of the first things they'll ask is, what do you do for work? And so your mindset is kind of built around that. And since we have moved here and I'm not working, it's just a huge mindset shift, not finding purpose and identity in your work. So that's been something I am definitely still working through and still navigating. Also, it has created the opportunity for me to start social media and that be an outlet for me. So that has been a really cool and amazing experience as well. So some things that I would like to achieve in 2023 and some goals that I have. One huge thing that I want to do in 2023 is build intentional and fulfilling relationships. I really want to have people in my life that make me a better person and I make them a better person. There have been friendships in my past that drained me, weren't fulfilling. I had a lot of anxiety around those friendships. So I've distanced myself from that, and I just want good people in my life that are going to make me a better person. And that is what I am manifesting in 2023. Another goal that I have is spending less time on social media. I just started getting kind of depressed from it. It's still something that I'm trying to identify and work through, but I just felt like it's so easy to compare what you have and what you don't have to people online. So in 2023, I really want to focus on what is in front of me, being present, and just spending more time with people that I love and making memories. Okay, so this next goal for 2023, I'm going to be very vulnerable in opening up about this. One thing that I have learned recently is that I never learned the right tools on how to manage emotions. I definitely can identify emotions and I am very empathetic towards other people, but when it comes to my own emotions and how I feel, I've noticed that it's difficult for me to identify how I'm feeling sometimes, especially when I'm put on the spot. I notice a lot that I freeze. I recently learned about inner child work. It's so weird because when I think about my childhood, there are so many memories that I am missing. And I feel like I remember very little about my childhood. So I'm really curious about exploring that more and just connecting with my inner child. So a couple of more goals that I have for 2023 is number 1, no soda. So that is why I have my sparkling water in place of that. Number 2 is no alcohol. I am not a huge drinker anyway, so I think this one won't be that hard for me. I'm more of a social drinker, so I think in social situations it will be a little more tricky for me, but I think overall it won't be a huge deal for me to cut alcohol. I have the biggest sweet tooth in the entire world. Literally, the biggest sweet tooth in the entire world. I just want to be more mindful about it, and PCOS and Hashimoto's are sugar loving diseases or disorders or whatever they are. So by limiting those, hopefully I can heal and manage those in the new year. 2023 is going to be nothing short of crazy. We are deciding if we are going to stay here in Europe or move back to the US this summer whenever our 1 year is up here. And we're also talking about family planning. So this year is going to be so fun, and I cannot wait to experience everything and document everything with you guys. Leave a comment below with the best thing that happened to you in 2022 and what you're looking forward to in 2023. I cannot wait to hear from you. I'm wishing all of you a wonderful, happy, and abundant new year, and I cannot wait to continue experiencing life, learning, and growing with you in 2023. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.